Matt, you got to run the show. Okay, so you're gonna come
I
in.
can't handle that.
You're gonna come in from off screen like that, and I'm gonna call you in. Are you ready? 3,
Yeah.
2,
2, 1.
1. Showtime. Hey, welcome to the stage, Matty B, the man from Tel Aviv, coming in live on the Two Fab Podcast, brought to you by nobody, because we don't have a sponsorship at all. Is that a Houston Astros hat? Oh, no, it's an LA Dodgers hat. I was going to have to ask you to leave.
Why?
Yeah.
Astros?
Does anybody like the Astros this day and age?
Well.
No, I haven't thrown that hat on in a while. That's one
you do
hat
have
I
an
can't
Astros
get down
hat.
with anymore.
Yeah, you probably won't want to wear that for minimum until they change their logo. And like a whole new era comes in. How do you feel having a cheater on the Blue Jays? A trash can banger.
It's baseball.
I don't know, man. Is there a way to correct?
Is it mixed emotions?
I like Jordan Springer. I have no problems with him.
Yeah. No, me. Well, I have problems with what Houston
field
did,
goal.
and what.
Everybody has problems with what Houston did, but also people have problems with fucking baseball in general. It's a pure sport that's completely unpure. Like, everybody fucking cheats. It's like football. It's the same fucking thing.
Everybody cheats.
It's just they got caught.
Sometime. Did you say like football? There's one franchise that
football.
cheated, and you're wearing the jersey.
No.
And we can
No.
move along from that right now. We'll
Yeah,
take 2
okay.
steps back
Yeah.
with the plethora of issues in New England, and we'll move along from that comment. That was a little crazy.
All I'm saying is that baseball tries to act like it's the purest form of sport, and it's not. It's not even close.
Well, I think the purity comes from, like, I was having a conversation with Matt here and Jesse, another buddy from work. And the purity of the game comes from the fact that they haven't changed anything. Right?
Yeah.
Like, the game has been the same since, like, 1898. They haven't really changed many rules. The most recent rule change that, like, changed the game was the video review edition for the home runs, right? And the checking the outs at the back at first base and second base. Video review is the only thing they've changed in how long?
Yeah.
When was the last time you seen like a game? Right, I brought it up to you, Matt. I said, look at what the NHL did through that lockout in 06, 15 years ago. The big, massive change, the 2-line pass removal just completely sped up the game. All taking the sticks away from the people, limiting the fighting. And as much as we all do love fighting in hockey, we can't lie that the product on the ice is insanely better skill-wise compared to what it was. Because you don't have a line dedicated to a guy who could just bruise you around. You have a third and fourth line that's trying to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my thoughts on that one are that the game has changed so much because of the age of the players and how much the players train and work far more than they ever have before '06 and even back before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the changes to the game are needed due to the aspect of the athletes being that much better. I don't think baseball changes that way because baseball's one-on-one, offense against defense. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's
There's no physicality involved to create that.
Right, in order to make it more dramatic or dynamic.
Mm-hmm. And what's your opinion there, Chris?
I don't know.
I mean, you had voiced the whole thing about, like, you know, they call it the purest thing ever, but there's cheating going on.
Yeah, that's sports, and
Mm-hmm.
people get these like ideas that, like, if a guy did steroids or if he was accused of cheating or if he did cheat, it doesn't matter. He's tainted, and we can't have anything to do with him in baseball. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't think you can look at it as like, I don't even know how to say it. It's a competitive sport. So for people to stay at the top of their game for fucking 30 years in it or whatever, like the old baseball guys, right? That all did fucking steroids and won't ever make it into the Hall of Fame because of that. You'd be crazy to say that right now that's not happening. I really don't
You
think
still
that's
think
the
there's
case.
so? Do you mean like they? I mean, obviously, I think they've pretty much removed steroids. There's still definitely people getting caught and facing those
There-
massive suspensions.
There's legal steroids now. It's not that they got rid of steroids.
They just changed what
They legalized it. They said,
Right.
okay, well, you can have 40 milligrams of SGG in your system
I don't
instead
know.
of
I don't know enough about.
60 of whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like there was a point where they would measure for your steroids, and if you hit a certain mark,
So it's like a blood
You were
alcohol
boosting.
test. You hit a certain certain percentage, like in your blood.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So
See, I don't know enough about that in depth to know any of that. But if that's the case, well, whatever. But
it's
I don't. I think to your point of like cheating, calling it the purest, blah blah. Anyways, what is considered cheating? Something that's directly against the rules, right?
yeah.
Like doing something that absolutely 180 contradicts. Rule 1A: do not lift dumbbell. Go out, lift a dumbbell. Oh, you broke the rule, right?
hmm
I know that's very vague, but where was I going with this? Yes. I think teams that win championships, like dynasty-wise, find ways to bend rules but not break them, I guess is a kind of a good way to describe it. Find workarounds and holes in the systems to cheat their way to victory, but it's not really cheating. What Houston did was definitely cheating. That was a big tangent we went on there. Probably all for nothing. I got distracted halfway through this conversation opening Sportsnet, seeing the breaking news. Matt Stafford traded to the Rams.
The Rams
For Jared
What?
Goff.
Fuck off.
Matthew
That's not a real-
Stafford just
That's
got
not a
traded
real thing. Are
to
you
the Los
kidding?
Angeles Rams
No,
for Jared Goff.
it's the thing.
5
It's the
minutes,
thing I saw go off when we just started.
Fuck.
5 minutes ago.
That's crazy. Why is Goff like want out?
Detroit
Why
Lions
the hell did that
and the
happen?
Los Angeles Rams are reportedly taking part in a blockbuster quarterback swap. Rams are also sending 2 future first-round picks and a third.
Wow.
So that's a big price to pay for Goff, draft pick wise. Do you think, he is worth?
Yes.
Oh, hold
Yes.
on. It's not 2 picks. 2 former number 1 overall picks.
No.
Oh no. Also sending
I'm-
2 future first rounders. You think Goff is worth 2 future first rounders and a third round? And
how
current
often do first
Matt
rounders actually do anything? Like
Eh.
unless you're actually picking for
Just
a position
because there's
that you
been a
need to fill.
terrible slate of first overall quarterbacks over the last 15 years.
I'm not
stringing up the
talking
bums.
quarterbacks. I'm not just talking quarterbacks.
First overall picks. I'm gonna look up first overall picks. Keep going on your point.
It's just my point is it depends on what you're looking for. Like if they need depth somewhere, it makes sense. Like I don't know how Detroit looks. Like I don't think they're set up. I definitely think that's
Is that
a little rough.
is that their
Like first round
acquisition
picks
of
are first round picks, but like football, when it comes to picks, it's like you don't know who's gonna be good.
Mhm.
Like there are some, and most I find most of the good first round picks end up being linemen and defensive backs.
Yes,
Those
agreed.
guys are the ones that you're getting a first round pick, and you're getting that guy because you want to play.
And
11
they'll
seasons.
often go anywhere
be an
between
all-star.
like 5th and 20th overall. That's when all those greats defensively are drafted.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So I don't know where are those picks.
Notable first overall picks. Where are they? I guess it's going to depend on where the team finishes in the coming years, right? It's not like a set, 3rd overall pick. It's going to depend how they finish, right?
Oh, I thought it meant like for this season coming up.
No. Future first round picks, it says. So what is that, like next year's and then following years, or 2 years from
Probably
now
the year
and 3
after
years
that,
from
yeah.
now? But it's going to depend where the Rams finish. They could that those picks can turn into 30th overall, and it could be those linemen.
Where the Lions finish, you mean?
No, because they're getting the Rams picks. Oh no, for the Lions. The Lions. You're
No,
right. Sorry.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had it back.
I don't think so. That would.
That
I would have
it.
been fucking laughing if I was
Get
Detroit
fleeced.
at that point.
Get fleeced. So notable first overall picks in the last decade. First of all, basically all quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Mr. Broken Leg. Kyler Murray, shown a lot of promise these past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield showed some promise this season. Myles Garrett, really good with a helmet. Jared Goff, speaking of which. The rapist, Jameis Winston. Clowney, Fisher, Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, Sam Bradford, and in 2009, Matt Stafford first overall. So the last 11 years had... So they're swapping first over... Yeah, it's a good trade. But it's a huge trade.
It is a huge.
But out of that list, are there any like standouts where you're like, man, there's Patrick Mahomes. Oh wait, never mind. He went late in the round.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a crapshoot in football, man. Like, I don't know.
So I think it's a
If they
crapshoot
use
in every sport.
if they use those picks, like Stafford's been in the league 11 years, like 12 years.
This will be his
It'll be
12th
his
season.
12th
Yeah.
season.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff been in for 4.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Well, Matt Stafford has shown nothing playoff wise. He's had a great passing career, touchdown career. Like Detroit, how many years did you see during early in his career where like we'd be like, oh look, another 400 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But they also had the winless season in there, et cetera, et cetera. What was the other? I want to look those back up again.
What do you think, Matt?
Out of
Would
the
you
last-
take Goff or would you take Stafford?
Just on the 12 seasons versus 4 seasons, I don't think I'd make the trade at all, just based on the age alone.
No shit. Just on the Goff performance in the last 2 years alone. The dude's been fucking. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league, outside of Patrick Mahomes. I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is that LA's looking to maybe fucking I don't know, offload some salary, but that doesn't even make sense. Like, I don't know. And I guess maybe the first 2-round picks, they might have some problems in their defense or something coming up contractually that's gonna fuck them, and they're gonna have to let some people go, and they're gonna have to try and draft it. But I don't know, man. If I was the Rams, I would never make that trade. Jared Goff will be he's gonna be the next fucking Peyton Manning. He'll be in the league for fucking 15 years, and he's gonna fucking rack up some titles.
Maybe not now that he's on Detroit.
Maybe not that he's now in Detroit, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Coming full circle, talking about how terrible the drafting has been. At first overall, the most always go quarterback, right? But
Almost everyone.
the back-to-back Cleveland picks, Myles Garrett, then Baker Mayfield, are probably the two that stand out the most to me. I don't know if that's a bias because I'm a Steelers fan and I see them the most. But I guess Jared Goff is he's proved himself that he can be a stud. He can have a season when he's surrounded by, good linemen and a good offense and a defense on his other side. That year when he had his big year was the year that he had, who was running behind him?
In LA.
In LA.
It was,
They had like a crazy season. He was throwing like thousands of yards a game. Obviously not thousands, but and then they had that running game threat, which really opened up that air game for him. I can't believe I can't remember.
remember. I can't remember.
He's not there anymore. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Yeah. First overall picks have been a wash for the past decade, we'll say. Where you expect to like have something come of that terrible season in the past, right? I guess we got to wait and see on Joe Burrow how he comes back from this injury, but he definitely showed a little bit of flair in the first couple games of the year.
That's just shit luck for Joe.
Is that? Yeah, well,
like that dude has amazing talent.
that's a Cincinnati Bengals problem.
Yeah, I mean, You put him on a team with fucking no offensive line whatsoever.
The
and
AFC North, the
gonna
revolving
get
door
it.
for quarterbacks between Cleveland and Cincy. Pittsburgh
I
has
don't know.
been 20 years of Ben Roethlisberger, and now the Ravens had Lamar and Flacco prior, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, going back to the baseball, pure sport, blah, blah, blah. And I want to touch on a conversation I had with Matt and Jesse, my coworker, just to bring you into the loop, Chris, talking about them keeping the doubleheader 7-inning games, right? So just like in the lockdown season bubble thing, they brought in this like to get these games in if you have to play a doubleheader because we had to skip a week because of COVID. Baseball has the luxury of playing 2 games in a day with the sizes of rosters and the physicality of the game, right? Well, they went to, we're going to have 7-inning games when we have doubleheaders. They're keeping it. All right, is it going to keep going forward? Have you heard, Matt, if that's still going forward past this year? Or is that just a one more year? Yeah, I haven't heard.
I have not. I believe it's only COVID related to this point,
Okay.
but I have not confirmed
But
anything else beyond
I
that.
brought up the point with like change being good for sport. Like, how long can you rest on? We're locking it in. These are the rules. We're not going to change it for 400 years. You know what I mean? Rules change everywhere. Rules change everything. Rules change in life. Laws change. This changes. I feel like games should change along with the times. You know, baseball always had that problem with like the millennial generation and this younger generation of it being boring and blasé and lackadaisical. And why does it take so long for the pitchers to change? And I just watched 4 minutes of commercials and now this guy's still throwing a ball at a catcher. And what the hell? This sucks. So they introduced the time clock, this, that, and the other. And it seems to have helped the game, like, very small, in my opinion, in regards to, like, I'm a baseball fan like you guys, right? So I can watch a baseball game. So I don't really notice, right? The other thing I notice is maybe it is a little sped up, right? Like, oh, the pitcher's throwing the ball again. I didn't have as much time to run to the kitchen and grab the beer as I thought I did, right?
First world problems, yeah.
Yeah, it's a minor change. So when we had this conversation, Jesse brought up a point of, he brought up that whole pure sport thing. Like, you know, I love how the game has stayed the same over the last 100 years, you know, tried and true, don't mess with it. Matt agreed with him. Me and Matt's brother kind of were a little more accepting of the change and liking it. His brother brought up the point of, you know, starter 5 innings, you know, relief, closer, let's go, you know, let's keep it nice and tight and concise. You just got to change the way of thinking when you're managing the game from a management standpoint. I looked up some to like say that change is good. Some of the weirdest rules from like the 18th century when baseball first started. The craziest one that I had no idea, I guess the history of the game has gone past me all the way up until this point. When baseball first started, you had to score 21 runs to win. There were no 9 innings. It was the first at 21. That's how baseball started. Modern pitching. Imagine how long the game, it would be a cricket match. It would be a 4-day game before you got 21 runs, right?
Yeah.
The bullpen would be emptied every night. It wouldn't work. And I think, have you guys heard of the term Knickerbocker? Like the Knickerbocker rule? That's what modern baseball is. It's based off of that rule set that was kind of changed. They've kind of been playing with the same rules basically since the late 1800s, early 1900s, with minor changes every decade up until like the 40s, where it's basically been untouched since. A pitcher can't spit on the ball. In the early days of baseballs, pitchers found it very unusual ways to gain advantages. And one of the more powerful ways was to spit on the ball, the spit ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
They kiboshed that in the 20s. They made it illegal. Pitchers that were there beforehand got grandfathered in. The infield fly rule means that you're out before they catch it. Even a casual fan knows that if a batter pops a ball into the air and the fielder has to catch it in the air to get the batter out, not so fast. There's a rule in baseball called the infield fly rule. We all know how that works, right? If it's in the infield, he's out. It doesn't have to hit, you know. It basically means that the runner doesn't have to run and get caught in a double play, right?
Yeah.
That was a rule introduced that never existed. What are the other ones that really stood out to me? What's this one? I didn't even see this one before. No, that's not the same one. Hang tight, guys, here.
Well, you've made 3 good points of things I did not know that baseball had changed that much. I did not know those had been changes and they weren't original.
Okay, I found the better list. I found the actual list. This one's really... There are some real good ones in here. From 1867 to 87, the batter got to select where the ball would come in the strike zone. I want it high or low. Got rid of that. Fly balls used to be able to cut off the bounce from 1864 to 83. They popped into the infield, they hit the ground. You could catch it once, the guy was still out. Pitchers were required to throw underhand until 1883. One side of the bat was allowed to be flat from 1885 to 1893. So you can see in the late 1800s, they were really tweaking this, trying to create this, set of rules that were more defined. And this was a real wacky period for baseball, it seems. Walks were scored as hits for 1 year. If you gained a walk, that was a hit. Catchers used to stand behind the bag, not crouch. And then ground rule doubles were home runs until 1930. That was another interesting one for me. So I know that's a stretch because it's like 100 plus years ago. But imagine being a baseball purist and being like, 100 years, they haven't touched the game. But prior to that, it was completely wacky. So I'm happy they changed it. Is this set of rules that they've had for 100 years perfect? How many times have there been situations where you, as a fan or just as a general onlooker of sport, have you seen things happen in baseball and go like, man, they should change that or tweak it in a way? I touch back to hockey again because it's pretty progressive in the rule changes over the last 20 years. Hockey's changed a lot, and I think it's made the game better.
You think trapezoids made the game better?
The trapezoids find that no.
Let's be honest.
This is
okay. Of all the fucking things they've ever put into any sport, the trapezoid in the corner has to be like the least exciting thing ever.
It's taken the goalie out of the equation of playing the puck
already. Yes, but it was already a fucking rule that you couldn't run the goaltender even if he was in the corner playing the puck. You couldn't body him like a player.
It had nothing to do with. Did it have something to do with that people running the goalie? Anyways, yes. Just to prevent the. Anyways, yes. I don't know. Is the trapezoid silly? Would it? I don't know. They don't have the trapezoid in international hockey. International hockey is great, correct? So
yes.
Is that?
Yeah.
But
it changes the game hugely.
There's so many rules over 20 years in the NHL that has made it better. The puck over the glass, delay a game. I remember watching hockey in the late 90s. They would just flip that puck over. They would get possession. It'd be another whistle. It was like watching the end of it was watching the end of the basketball game. A minute took 40, right?
Yeah.
You watch the end of basketball, timeout. That's what flipping the puck over the glass was. If you got possession off the draw, flip it out. Now we can do our line change off the icing, whatever. A lot of things. One thing I do hate in hockey, the face-off puck drop, tossing the guy out. Gotta quit that. You made all these changes to speed up the game when you're going to delay it with, the stripes taking control.
Such unnecessary. But
I was going somewhere with this and I forgot now.
My trapezoid comment.
Yeah, you stopped me in my tracks there. And I had a point and it's gone now.
you were talking about the purists in baseball.
Yeah,
and, looking back, how you could say like
is the
if
game
they had kept
perfect?
it the same back
and I was going to
then-
talk about the one rule that they're talking about in the NHL. I don't know. I've heard broadcasters talk about it. I don't know if it's a real oncoming rule, but the delayed penalty. You pull your goalie, you get 6-on-5 until the other team touches the puck, then you get the power play. If you score a goal, you lose your power play. Why should you lose your power play? Because you were able to pull your goalie and score a goal within 10 seconds. You should still get a power play on top of that. I think they're looking at it to increase scoring.
But is that only because the one team did have the opportunity to have the man advantage if they could pull the
Yeah.
goalie successfully and not have the other team take control of the puck?
Exactly. So it should be rewarded. Right? You were good enough to draw a penalty, maintain control of the puck, have your goalie leave, work the puck around the zone, play, score a goal. Now you don't get a power play. Why are you robbed of that? Because you just showed more skill on top
You're
of your
not
skill.
robbed. You just had a man advantage. You had 6 on the ice.
No, you don't have to agree with it. I think it would be great, personally. There would be times where all this, like, it would be game changing for comebacks, which is in sport great poetry. Down 3 goals, came back in the third. We were down 6 runs. We rallied in the 8th and the 9th, 1 by 1. Great. Anyway, I think you can add a way to rally quickly. Delayed penalty, pop one in, boom. You just got a 3-1 lead down to a tie game in under 2 minutes because we added this rule change. I think it would be fantastic for the game. Would it snake bite you? It would snake bite you a lot.
Yeah.
I think
you would be more annoyed by it over the
as a
course
Leafs
of time
fan,
when you're up
definitely.
2-0 and you take a fucking penalty.
The games where that
last
happens against you
fucking 5
would
minutes of the
sting.
game.
Would sting.
Yeah.
Bringing it
And
back.
I think more people would hate it than like it.
Yeah.
I understand. I get what you're saying. I
Mhm.
get the concept of you pulled them because, you know, they can't touch the puck, so you got an advantage, but the penalty should still be penalized. But you are being penalized at that moment. Otherwise, you could just take it and no delay penalties and just give a penalty and automatically give the man advantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're saying it's like you need to be rewarded, well, it should just be penalized right away rather than giving you an opportunity to have an advantage and then getting another advantage on top of that.
So penalties, arm goes up, blow the whistle. No need to pull the goalie.
I seen a hook. Blow the whistle.
You're right.
You hooked them. That's
That's another
they
way.
didn't always have delayed penalties either.
That's another
right?
way to
like
approach
back.
I
back in the-
don't know. I don't know. In
like-
the 1900s, it was a delay. Let's be honest. The NHL has gone through a lot of rule changes. Like old hockey is just as crazy as old basketball and old
Yeah.
baseball and old everything.
I feel like yeah, but like in like the 70s and 80s for sure. But I think maybe before that, I don't think there was even delayed penalties. It was just a penalty.
Matt
When they
is
seen it,
Matt.
Somebody get tripped.
Matt, what? In the 70s, was there?
Yeah, dude, I don't recall any hockey from the 70s.
You were watching. Too busy watching
You were
baseball.
too burned out. in your
Collecting
20s, or-
your Carl Yastrzemski cards.
Oh my god.
Coming back to that whole tangent of is change good for baseball? I say yay. Bring on the rule changes. Add the things. Bring in the video cameras so that the calls are right. Shorten it in a way, put the runner on second in the 10th to speed things up. And I'm even open to have it because that's a long season, 162. It's a grind, right? It's long, right?
No, yeah.
April to October, playing every
Play
day.
5 games in a row.
It's crazy, right?
Play every day.
It's a grind.
Yeah.
So anytime you can speed that up, I think I think it encourages the sport. And if you go back to an old style game in the playoffs, once again to kind of grandfather in this new style, because being a baseball fan though, there's something great about, October baseball, game 6 of the, ALCS. You're coming into the 8th inning. That tension and waiting for that reliever to come out of the bullpen is some of the most enjoyable time as a sports fan, right? That everything is culminating. You're down to the final 4. You're down to the final 2, and it's up to one guy with a ball in his hand, and he's taking 10 minutes to get out of the bullpen. If you're a fan, you love that wait, right?
Yeah.
But I think looking at it through the eyes of someone who doesn't watch sport. That's got to be agonizing. You know the one that's always invited to the party that doesn't give a shit about the game, sitting in the corner doing whatever. How can you pull that person into the game is the way you kind of have to look at it. Is rule changes the answer to that?
No.
Speeding it up the way that... No? You don't think so?
No, not at all.
So what brings that person in? What brings that casual fan to the diehard? What do you have to change to say, like, is it just like your team performing that year and you're all in? Or like, does it come down to that? Is that what's stopping the casual fan?
Down to fucking talent. Somebody draws you in.
So you got you are saying it depends the players they're putting on the field.
Yeah.
And getting behind those specific players.
I think I get what you're saying about baseball, and ultimately, the idea behind like speeding it up and shortening it, that's just because that's our world now, right? Everything's fucking boom,
Fast.
done.
Yeah. It's a
And I
byproduct
get
of
that,
our times.
but if you change it to make it like that, how likely is somebody to stick around watching baseball? Maybe they like it in a shortened form, but most people that enjoy sports will enjoy them as they are right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a problem? Do they need to attract more people by shortening the game and making it faster? I think in baseball, like they review every fucking play. It's crazy.
There's a
Like,
the video
that's lengthening it. It's not even shortening
the
it.
video reviews are slow, right?
And
I think it's the idea of just getting the call right in those situations. The technology's there. Why not use it? That's what that brought in.
yes, I know. And that was a huge thing in soccer 2 years
Mhm.
ago when they brought in the video review
For the offsides.
And they brought in the
Mhm.
World Cup, and then they brought in the Premier League, and that was like, the pure sport, and you don't need video review because there's refs on the field, and it was all the talk.
Mm-hmm. I recall.
And I don't think anything, like when it comes to video reviews and stuff like that, does anything to attract people into the game. If anything, the controversy is what does that.
So yeah, I think you kind of nailed it with what brings people to the game is the talent. It's that I want to see that guy, and I want to hear his story. Like I was talking about the poetry of sport right earlier. That's some of the most enjoyable. Thinking of childhood of like, we all did it on the front lawn with the baseball glove in hand. In Game 7 of the World Series, you throw the ball in the air. Oh, you catch it, we won. The breakaway down the ice. Game 7, penalty shot, scores, wins. You recreate that story, even as a kid being a fan. And the talent on any given team of any sport, field, rink, court, whatever, you're probably right, exactly what draws people in.
Yeah.
It's not so much like draws in the casual. It's not so much the product on the court or the field that's going on. It's the character, right?
The story, yeah.
The story, the character.
Yeah.
Who's writing the story? What's going on? Excuse me. I had a thought pop in and it went away. Stupid brain.
Yeah, you're always gonna have like perennial athletes that draw you to the sport, right? Like, I mean, Michael Jordan did that for basketball in the 80s and 90s, and then LeBron James carried that on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that watch baseball just because they want to watch LeBron James. You know what I mean?
They watch baseball for LeBron James.
Basketball. I said baseball.
That's
I meant
exactly
basketball.
That was exactly the point. My head was just going to. It caught it as you brought up Michael and LeBron.
Of course, because we think alike.
NBA has done the best job in whole of any of the sports at marketing their characters that they have and letting them be who they are and marketing themselves, creating their own brands.
And
baseball doesn't have one.
No.
The last one they had was Derek Jeter. That was the last character that had his brand in the sport.
Yeah, and you know what's
There's a big
that,
lack of branding in baseball.
and the big problem too is this all of a sudden surge of purism, and like it stems a lot from the Hall of Fame fucking voting committee
Oh yeah,
that won't vote anybody in that was, you know, using steroids
From that era.
And 90s baseball was some of the best baseball you're ever gonna watch.
You ever watch that documentary on that where like the guy had the kids? It was on Netflix. And he had the kids.
Yeah, I've watched that.
That's a really good little documentary, but like through the eyes of like kid actors. It was really. Chris, you haven't seen that, or that doesn't ring a bell to you?
Are you talking about the one where like with the parents and the kids?
No, you keep going how you were going on with the whole Hall of Fame committee, and I'll look it up.
Yeah, so like in baseball, I've found it's only been very lately, and it gets brought up again because of the whole Astros thing, right? That was a fucking big black market, and then everybody goes baseball pure, nobody cheats, nobody does anything like that, and so there's not like it's almost like they. Back in the day, if there was like a cheating scandal, that would be like all over the fucking news, and then people would be right into baseball and they'd want to watch the Astros lose. Now it's just like people are like, the Astros cheated. We don't care. I don't want to watch baseball. It's just cheaters. You know what I mean?
It was definitely bad for the game to have that happen.
It was not good for the game, and the purists drive that narrative of like, well, baseball's not pure anymore and it's not worth watching, and they still watch baseball, but they spout it out like it's not worth watching because everybody cheats or everybody uses steroids. And it's like, you're right. When you go on TSN or SportsCenter or ESPN, what do you see? You see LeBron James dunking on somebody. That's all you ever see. I don't know if the NBA is paying them more to do it or if it literally is just the most interesting thing to watch in sports.
Yeah, it is probably. So you get these characters in these sports that transcend the sport. And those are your superstars. Those are the ones that they're within the sport. Tom Brady. Tom Brady. They're the great, but they go beyond. And those people that transcend the sport are the ones where you can go to that casual fan, that nothing fan, the ant that doesn't give a crap about sports. You pull out your phone, you whip out Tom Brady's face, you go, "Who's that?" "Oh, that's Tom Brady." They don't watch. They just know that those people get beyond it. I don't think there's a baseball player in the whole league that does.
Yeah.
Right now.
Bryce Harper was doing that big push there. They were trying to make Bryce Harper like
the face of baseball. Exactly.
Like 4 years ago. And you know, he just I don't know what happened.
They don't
he didn't fucking set a home run record. He didn't fucking that's pretty much the only thing in baseball that'll make you fucking famous now. If you can beat the fucking what is it, 72, 73 home runs in a season?
You gotta go on a home run. They need that back. They need everyone to juice again.
But you never get it. You know why? Because you can't use steroids anymore. This is the whole fucking
that was the peak.
Circle that we're going.
That was the
right?
peak of baseball, right? McGuire versus Sosa, is that what it was in the late 80s, early 90s? The home run race. Yeah. It was everywhere, right? It once again transcending. It made itself into pop culture. It was in movies. It was in cartoons. It was on cereal boxes. Baseball's lost that. That is now the NBA big time, like number 1, and NFL number 2. Hockey isn't big enough in America for it to ever have those stars, I don't think. In Canada, everyone, you could show a picture of Wayne Gretzky. We all know who he is. I think some Americans even do. Because he was that
Most
guy.
Americans know him too.
Is Sidney Crosby getting there? Is Ovechkin getting there? But those are the characters that transcend hockey over this last generation. Our new ones are McDavid, and Matthews playing in Toronto has created that for him, right? What are you scrunching your face for?
What?
Austin?
I just had an H on my nose there.
Look who's on the packaging of the hockey cards.
Yeah. No,
every year. Crosby, McDavid, and Matthews.
If Matthews wasn't there, it would be Marner. If Marner wasn't there, it would be fucking...
Yeah. The benefit of Matthews is he's an American, so he's marketable to that market, right? And Ovechkin was marketable to the other side of the world, the Europeans and the Russians.
Yeah.
Right? He was able to bring a huge chunk of that market over to North America, being from Russia.
I think to your point, Dan, though, if you took a look at the northern teams that are in the States, and you took any Detroit Red Wing from the 80s and 90s, even to about 2005, you could probably show off 6 or 7 baseball cards. If you get down to Florida, nobody's going to recognize it. But
Yeah.
Detroit had such a dynasty going. I think you're safe there.
Mm-hmm.
I think even in Dallas, you would have had a good run for years where people would recognize those names, right?
Mhm.
Was it Medano
Yeah,
with the hair?
Yeah, definitely. And
Turco.
that's like a non-hockey market getting behind a team because the team was so great at the time. As you say, you could whip out the Mike Modano card, the Eddie Belfour card in Dallas. They'd be like, man, those guys are legends at that time. But I'm
Right.
sure you can go into Dallas right now, whip out a Tyler Seguin card, who's one of their elite players, and be like, oh, cool, he plays for the Stars. I don't know who he is. You pull out
Yeah.
any, Dak Prescott card. They're, whoo, baby. That's Dak Prescott. And I feel like Dak Prescott across America, most people know who he is because he's the quarterback for the Cowboys. And they
So guaranteed, but
they market that big time.
that's America's team, right?
Mhm. But the point being, who is there in baseball right now?
We're in Dallas
No, like
and Houston.
who's that player that's transcending baseball and getting into
Altuve.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna go there,
Right,
but
I
yeah,
mean,
you're just asking to step in it.
big numbers in a couple cheating seasons, right? So
I don't know. Like it was always like I think in the modern era, like Big Papi was like the go-to. Everybody just wanted to watch him because he could fucking hit dingers.
yeah,
Played in Boston, historical
Mhm.
franchise. And
I just don't want to say
fucking
baseball's
retired,
in
man.
trouble, but like they gotta find someone to put it on, and they gotta do a better
But-
job with marketing the personalities within the
Yeah.
game.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think baseball's in trouble because of that. Like I think coming full circle on everything we're talking about is that you can change the rules, you can change the style of the game, you can go to 7 innings and head-to-heads, but that's not going to bring in a crowd of people that are going to want to watch it more. Like
Yeah.
if you're going there for 9 innings of baseball and a doubleheader on each one, are you now going to watch it because it's 7? Like
Are you gonna
Yeah.
well, other than it won't be as long, or but
yeah, but
are
again,
you
I
gonna
think-
stay there for the 14 innings rather than the 18 innings? Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah,
for the whole doubleheader?
I just don't think you're going to draw
More people because
a
you've
bigger
shortened the-
crowd because it's shortened. If it's not a team that everyone's talking
Mhm.
about because they're a perennial team or they're the most covered thing in news right now, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, and I think I
So-
agree with you. And when you said it's up to the talent on the field,
Yeah.
or the court.
Baseball
That-
right now is like there's nobody that's oh my god, I got to
We
see
gotta
this
fill
guy
the-
hit
we gotta fill the stadium.
65, 70 home runs. You know,
Other than in each individual season with each individual team, maybe having one guy having an MVP caliber run, right?
Yeah.
Then
Right, and
behind
that will naturally bring the
Right.
city behind
that'll
the
naturally
team,
bring the
right?
city. I'm talking about bringing in the
Yeah.
globe, bringing in everyone.
Talking
Because
Blue Jays,
you gotta
2016.
right now, man. You gotta watch Patty Mahomes. Like, he's unbelievable. And who's he going against? The Golden Boy, the GOAT in the Super Bowl. Holy moly! More poetry at work in sport.
Yeah, Dan, I think that brings you back down to the point that you made about the 162 games you're playing from May to October. I
Yeah.
don't think you can focus on one player or a handful of players even at that point that are going to draw your interest in for that long.
So is
I've been watching a lot of Dodgers baseball the last 4 or 5 years. You could market any starting pitcher on that team. You can market all of their outfield and all of their infield on that team because they have got the all-around probably the best baseball team in the last 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
And you could market anybody on that team and have them be the face of baseball.
totally and I agree with you. They're not doing it.
yeah, that's the problem. There's no coverage,
They're not doing it.
but there's also no coverage because it's just not exciting to the general public to watch a 4-hour game of baseball.
Exactly.
And it never will be. It never has been. It
That's
never
where
has been.
it only gets
Who the fuck watched baseball in Canada
for 162 games. And I'm not just
between
talking about Canada.
91, 92.
I mean, the
and
term
now.
America's pastime means it's something you're doing when you're doing nothing, which means, right? You're doing nothing. You got the game on in the background. It's something to do. It's to fill my void.
Yeah.
Is
And
that
I
a
think the
problem for the game going forward? I mean, I guess they've worked on that marketing for 100 years, and it's been fine. But October baseball is still like one of the best things going. So I mean, maybe keep it. But I think a couple of rule tweaks and a couple of changes. Something as drastic as going down to a 7-inning game for the whole 162 games, I think is crazy. But to squeeze in double headers to make it a little more interesting for management, I think is good. Right? It allows you to stretch a starter a little farther, maybe give him a complete game in the first game so that in your second game you're not digging into your bullpen as much. You know what I'm saying? Right? Obviously depending on how said starter performs.
Yeah.
But it gives you that option.
I just think it's a moot point. I don't think it brings anything in. You know what I mean?
I agree
I'm
with you
fine
there
with
100%. It's not going to bring in more people at all.
No.
I think.
And if that's
during.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you just
I
gotta
think
keep
during
talking, just
COVID.
talk over everybody.
Yeah, sorry. I think during COVID, you need to go to the 7 innings for double headers. I think you can't count on players. You can't count on being able to manage the same way and miss games and then have to make up double headers more than ever. Because I think in a regular season without COVID, each team might play 2 double headers. And if you're going to take me to a ball game, take me to a double header. I'll enjoy 2 games back to back, 9 innings. I think Jesse's comment the other day is when you have to play 7 and 7, it changes the structure of the managing. You manage your lineup differently if you have 9 versus 7 innings coming into the game. Now, the 30-second rule for a pitcher, that was annoying at first because they showed the clock. The pitcher settled in. By the time you got to the 3rd or 4th inning, the pitcher was going back to what he was going to do anyways, and it happened to fit within 30 seconds. I don't have a problem with that. They don't make the batter stop from adjusting his glove and stepping out. That's up to the natural cadence of the hitter to get back into the rhythm. The part I don't agree is when you bring in a relief pitcher and he has to face 3 hitters, that changes the management of that, even though the other manager can change his batters. And you can't change your pitcher until he faces 3 hitters. I don't like that one. That doesn't speed the game up, in my opinion. I think it ruins the strategy of how you manage. The other rule change that I wasn't so fond of, and that went right off the train track. I forgot where my thought was going with this one. Oh, the automatic walk. I'm going to throw 4 pitches and walk them. You can just move the runner down to first. But what if the catcher and the pitcher messed with signals and he lost one over the catcher's head? Now you can't advance a runner, right? You're just going to move one runner wrong if there's one on first. Otherwise, a guy could score from third on a walk if they cross their signals up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think those all change the game a whole lot to make it faster.
I want to touch on the bringing in a relief having to face X amount of batters. I love that. And as for it changing the management, all it does is exactly that. Change the way you manage the game, right? It just changes the way you have to think. It's like playing management in baseball has been especially like chess compared to other sports, because in other sports there's so many moving parts, you can only manage so much, and then you kind of leave it up to the players on the ice, the field, to settle in and follow this system. But in baseball, the chess match of shifts and batting changes, pitching changes, pinch hitter, lefty, righty, has been a lot more. There's a lot more to managing a baseball team than during live action of sport than, let's say, and I could be completely wrong, I've never coached, than coaching a basketball game. I think. I mean, you see them there yelling, go stand here, set the pick, blah, blah, blah. You see that going on. But during the play, it's kind of out of the coach's hands, right? The people on the court, the field, have to do it. In baseball, the decision to bring in a pitcher and change a pitcher, switch a hitter, switch a batter, switch a runner, I feel is a lot more effective than the coach yelling from the sideline, right? Because you're straight up changing in the middle of a play the catalyst for the play. in changing your pitcher or your batter, or putting a speeder runner on first to pinch run, right? It has a lot more effect, I feel, than coach telling you to go stand here on the court.
Right. I'm with you on that one.
But
because you're not going to change three pitchers hitter after hitter
exactly
with the potential for that
so
to happen.
All
what
that
I don't think
does,
is
all that rule does, coming back to it, is just change the way they manage it. It doesn't really like take the management away from the manager. It just changes the way they manage it.
I'll give you that. But what I don't think is fair is if one manager can't change his pitcher till he faces three hitters, why can the other manager change his batting lineup to suit with the pitcher that gets stuck in there?
To create offense. Offense is good for sport.
I'm with Matt.
As sports fans, we understand what defense is and what defense means and how great it is to see a shutout, a no-hitter, a no-no, you know.
So you're saying that the MLB implemented this rule in efforts for them to allow the last three hitters in a ball game to score more runs?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fucking crazy.
Because
I get it.
Because in a
I
lot
understand.
of cases, that's when baseball to the casual gets boring. Out. Switch pitch, switch pitcher, switch pitcher. Slow it down. Come out, throw one pitch. Now we're waiting another 15 minutes for this guy to come out of the bullpen, warm up, and throw another pitch.
No, but that's all coming back to this. Is it a rule change to try and speed up the game, make it more offensive? Like, then
maybe I'm missing on that making it more offensive thing. I think it naturally will, because you're going to get a pitcher that's going to get roughed up on the first one and then like Matt said, you know, manager's going to go, shit, he just got on second. Pinch hit you now because you're a better cleanup.
Yeah.
In that regard, yeah.
Yeah,
it will make it more offensive.
Yeah, I think it will make it more offensive. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing though.
Or was it their
if you play good baseball for 8 innings and then you have to come in because you're only up by 1 run?
I like that rule a lot, personally.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of you have to face three.
I guess you're probably going to get it both ways, right? Both teams are going to get to do it.
You're in the balance, in the parity of a season, you're going to have a lot of balance where, yeah, it's going to work against you for a week. 4 straight games, you're going to get screwed by this rule. The balls aren't going to bounce your way. This isn't going to go that way, blah, blah, blah. You're going to hate the rule. But there's going to be a stretch a little later down the road where it's going to balance itself out. And I think I'm always been a positive person for change. So I think it's just change, and I like it for the most part. It doesn't affect the game enough to me to go like, man, like talking about the face-off rule, dropping the puck in hockey, that drives me mental. Having a pitcher have to not get out after striking a guy out. You come in, you strike a guy out, and then you get out of the game. Make him throw two more batters. I like it.
Yeah, but it's the reverse effect of it in the event that
and it's also or end the inning. He doesn't have to face 3. He has to face 3 or end the inning.
Correct.
So he can come out with 2 outs and then change. And it's to stop that bullpen crap. The NBA does have that problem with the last minute of a game that's within 1 point. It takes 40 minutes to play a minute in the NBA if they have their timeouts left. It's insane.
Their timeouts and their.
I've been watching a Leafs game and having the wraps up top, and the wraps are down to a minute because they started at like 6 and the Leafs started at 7 or whatever, time zone. Leafs playing out west or what have you, and the Raptors playing at home, and there's 10 minutes left in the third period. The Raps are down to 250, but it's a 1 point, and the Leafs finish first. I've watched it happen.
Yeah,
like multiple times.
Yeah, but just like sticking with the baseball thing, it didn't seem like a necessary change. I think at the end of the day, like you say, you're gonna get your relief in on the last inning, both teams. So you should be able to take advantage of it if one takes advantage of it and the other doesn't. You're gonna feel ripped off, you know what I mean? It's just, and that's coming back to the whole pure baseball thing, and they've never changed the rules, so I don't know.
I totally agree with you. The thing with baseball is from the beginning, every play in baseball is a matchup, right? It's a pitcher and a hitter. It's one pitch. It's 11 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
The pitcher is going through a series of signals and signs with the catcher. You're going matchup after matchup after matchup until you get to a reliever and you take the matchup away from the game. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to match like Kevin Cash or John, is it John Madden?
Yeah.
He's been with Tampa Bay. He's been with
yeah.
the Cubs.
Yeah.
Okay. How many times have you seen him have a pitcher on the mound, take a left fielder out, put a pitcher in right field, sub the pitcher from right field up to the mound, put the pitcher in the mound back out in left field, and work his game that way? Right? He's done so many different things to change the game, which is weird.
That's him utilizing.
But it makes it work.
That's him utilizing.
Right?
Remember how I talked about like there's rules in place that you can bend? That's a good manager.
Yeah.
Like kind of bending the rules. Like Bill Belichick was known for that and finding these little loopholes in rules to make offensive plays. You know, like he was the one he created the whole eligible receiver downfield thing, and Brady would throw a little check pass down to like a lineman. Right, like no one did that before Belichick, and that's just like finding a hole in the rules and kind of bending it a bit. But yeah, I see what you're saying in regards to you're kind of taking that head-to-head matchup away. Like, oh, you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, by making a pitcher stay in for 3 hitters and letting the other guy have free reign.
Right.
But at the same time, that coach on the opposing side has to know that he now has the ability to do that, so I have to think, and rather than thinking 1 step ahead, I just have to think 3 steps ahead.
Right, but hold on. You can send out a hitter to the on-deck circle, not announce him, then the other pitcher, the other coach who's got the pitching going, has to figure, well, is it a decoy? Is he going to announce him? So then you it's not the same, because now your pitcher's committed to finish the inning or face 3 hitters, right?
Yep. So that aspect is gone now.
That aspect is gone.
Right.
And then you've got somebody like Kevin Cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who needs to start a starter? You can start an opener. You can start a reliever. And then put your starter in for innings like 3 to 8. Why not do it that way?
Yeah.
That's completely unorthodox, but it's been working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where more teams have started an opener as opposed to a starting pitcher, right?
But that's to the credit of the management in the league. That's them finding ways to make this new system work, which I don't see being a bad thing. You know, it's changing it. It's freshening it up. You know, it's not the same old song and dance. 6 innings, you're out. 2 innings for you. 1 inning for you. Or, you know, oh, you got dinked up, 4 innings for you. We got to kind of work with the middle of the game a little differently. It changes it in a way that isn't too extreme for me. You know, it's not like you're, you know, making the ball boy go out and pitch because, yep, your pitcher only lasted an inning, so now the ball boy has to go pitch. You know, like that's crazy. But you're not changing it in a way that's like, you know, now all baseball has to be played on AstroTurf. You can't have real grass. That's a drastic change. Making a guy face an extra couple batters in a situation, you just as a manager have to know, like, okay, this guy's got to face 3. That's all.
Yeah, but look at this COVID era though, because the National League took away from the pitchers hitting, and they did the DH last season too.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah, but that's what makes the 2 leagues different.
A unified league, man. Unified league. It's been coming for decades. They've been calling for a unified league where it's the same. That's the one thing that always bugged me about baseball, the most too, with like, you know, talking about a unified league, is how every ballpark, I've said this to you before, Matt, every ballpark can be different. There's a set little infield diamond. Past that, do what you want in the outfield, man. You can have it 450 yards over here, 310 over here. You can have an angle. You can have a corner where the ball bounces around like this. Doesn't matter. I never liked that. It allows teams to pad stats. The New York Yankees making their right field 104 feet.
Thinking of the Boston Red Sox.
to be able to. The Red Sox have it's a short left, but it's a 700-foot wall.
What's a short right too, isn't it?
In Boston.
Oh, what am I
It's
fucking
super
thinking?
deep on the one side of Boston, and then it's short with the giant wall on the other side, right? The
Maybe,
Green
yeah,
Monster.
maybe it's the Yankees I'm thinking of.
I might have right and left backwards. Looking at
Left is the monster, right is but right is the fucking wall that's like 3 feet high.
yes, it's you hit it at your knees. Yeah,
You
but it's
ground rule
way
doubles
out
all
there.
the time.
No, the Yankees created a field. Like, how deep? Do you know how deep the field is in New York? Their new stadium. It's not deep.
No, I think it's like 300 feet or something
And
like
I always
that.
say it's like,
It's
oh,
very
okay, so
short.
we got the home run king, and was that their plan? So they can have the home run king every year because they have a shallow field.
Maybe.
Yankees.
But that's the beauty of baseball, though. It's not like
I knew you were
basketball,
gonna
hockey.
say
Come
that.
on. Yeah, I know. Shut up.
The most successful leagues in the world all have the exact same field and all
Yeah.
play with the exact same set of rules.
And
The
every
beautiful
single
thing about baseball, that sport that nobody talks about, is that it's almost impossible to follow, and it's long as shit. And
left field
yeah,
is only 318 feet.
that's short.
Center's 408. Oh, sorry. Center field 408. Right center. Oh, they have like all the. Yeah, the shallowest in left is 318.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had it backwards. I was looking at the field head on. You look at the field towards home. It's
Yeah,
like
but I think
kinda right left
Rogers
on a
Center is 321 down both lines, and I think 450 in the middle. So the Jays have the same setup, but it doesn't matter if you're lefty or righty because you're not much further than the 318.
dimensions. Let me look it up.
Yeah, but
And-
again, how high are the walls there?
Yeah.
That's all part of it too.
Oh yeah, those are
left
probably
field
like,
328.
You're 318 at a fucking 9-foot
yeah,
wall versus a 3-foot
320.
wall.
Yeah, it's true. It is also a short wall in New York. Left
Yeah.
field line 328 in Toronto, so it's 10
Yeah.
feet shorter in. It's to allow those right-handed batters, which is what generally dominates the league, to smoke them out at Yankee Stadium. And when you get 82 games a year there, and other teams only get 10 in the AL East,
Yeah.
you're going to have a big home run advantage, and you're going to have a lot more home run champions coming out of that team in the future with the shorter field.
yeah, that Green Monster was originally put up so people could sit behind and watch in from the outside, kind of like
Yeah.
they do in Chicago with the Cubs, where you can watch the game from anywhere in the neighborhood. So I mean, it's old school, but it's the only one like it, so you can
Mhm.
run with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the shortest is the Trop. And their distance to center field is only 404. And they have that catwalk you can hit for a home run. Right? But they're talking about
Yeah.
Jesse sent that link where they're talking about doing a whole overhaul down there, right?
Yeah, I don't
might be good
understand. They're going to put that much money into a field
into a failing
and a
franchise.
team that nobody wants to watch.
That was the key point in that whole thing. Yeah, they're talking about possibly moving that team to Montreal and doing a split season in Montreal. Maybe they'll do the split Montreal season until it's built, and then they'll say "fuck you, Montreal," for the second time.
Probably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no fucking baseball. I can't handle it.
It's funny because that's what Matt's game is.
I can tell.
I
I enjoy
That-
baseball. I fucking it's just sometimes it gets a bit much.
Yeah.
Even for me. Like
Yankee
I don't know.
Stadium. I just want to get a shot. Like, how big is that wall in left field at Yankee
so
Stadium?
think about that, right? So if the Jays are hitting 328 on the far outside on a 9-foot wall, you got to be hitting that thing about like at least 350 to get it over 328.
Yeah, you have to
If-
10
if-
feet longer and like a couple feet higher to get the
Yeah.
home run in the Rogers Center. But
That's right.
whatever. A home run's a home run, right? At the end of the day, and blah 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 blah. It's just and in any given game that's being played in Yankee Stadium, both teams are there. But it's the idea of like, you have a home run champion at the end of the year. Did he play in an easy field? Was he in it, or does he really have that pop where he can hit? I mean, all home run kings could hit a home run anywhere, but how many did he hit at home in that shortened field? I.e., Aaron Judge for the next 10 years of his career. how many times is he going to win home run championship? Because at home, in the 81 games he gets to play there, he's going to hit 30 home runs. No one else has that advantage. The next guy hit the wall a couple times.
Don't matter, though. It really doesn't matter. If he breaks
Sorry,
the record,
you wanted to stop talking baseball. I went back to it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I was just saying that, like, at the end of the day, they're not going to look at if he breaks a home run record, which everybody's predicting he will, but who knows?
Yeah.
They're not going to look at what fucking stadium it is or how many of those are 318-yard home runs, how many are 400.
Well, the one who's going to break all the records is Mike Trout. He's the one on pace to break everything. He's the other person they can market if they learned how to market. Maybe he doesn't have the personality and he's not interested.
Most baseball players don't have personality.
There's been some people with some personalities. Look at Rougned Odor. How much do you hate that guy from that series against Toronto for the last 5 years? I wanted to slap that guy every time I seen him.
Yeah.
Is there a career stat chart for this guy, or do I have to add this all together? Career. Oh, here we go. He has 302 home runs. He's 29. So, let's say he plays another decade, and he's already played a decade. 604 home runs. It's up there. But he's gonna have to have a couple of pop-off seasons where he, has a couple Jose Bautista seasons over 50. Maybe even a 60 to be the home run king.
Yeah, because you got the Babe and Hank Aaron, right? And then you'd probably have Bonds
Big
and
Juice
A-Rod.
Boy? Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is number one.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't care about Barry.
For sure, but
with his roids.
The Lions got the first round picks.
What?
Yeah. So Stafford to the
Detroit Lions
to the Rams in exchange for 2 first rounders and a 3rd round pick and Jared Goff.
The Rams are also sending 2 future first round picks. And the
Rams.
So I was right at the beginning.
Detroit fucking made out like a bandit, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Well, it depends. What does Detroit have to surround Goff in?
It doesn't matter. They just traded off an 11-year league QB for a guy that is essentially a younger version of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they got 2 first-round picks out of it and a 3rd round pick. I don't understand what the fuck it was. Like, it was like they were offloading Goff. Like
could have been that.
Does he
have a big contract, Goff?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know that either. Because lots of times those things are like contract offloads and.
Well, he's gonna be expensive. I don't know if he's picking up the contract from LA or if he's gonna be signing a new one.
Like sign and extend. Yeah,
I don't know.
Trade and sign it.
Goff will be expensive.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Well, we're nearing like over an hour here, so we could probably wrap it up.
So Screwball was what you want to watch on Netflix.
Yeah, I had it up and I closed it. Yeah, it was Screwball. Watch it. If you got a free hour and a half, 2 hours, it's about baseball. Yeah, I think you're baseballed out for a month, so you can watch it next. Maybe March, you can check it out. It's a very good documentary on that steroid era you were talking about. Done like totally different. Not your standard style documentary. The way they like reenacted some of this. You just gotta watch it, man. Anyhow, that's all I got, man. You guys have anything else to add?
No, that's good.
Good, brother.
Nah, that's it, eh? All right, man.
Yeah, Canucks are up 3-1 against the Jets right now. Besser got his 7th goal.
Nice.
The floodgates are opening.
Let's go. Let's get that rookie card jacked up, baby.
Get fucking ready.
Let's get that rookie card. That one that you paid $2 extra for that I could have had for $2 less.
That one right there.
Oh my god, he has it ready to go. Oh,
That's my favorite card.
Gross.
No, not my favorite card, but it's right here.
Is it your favorite player right now, at least?
On Vancouver, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's easily
That-
my favorite too.
Spencer's a beef.
Yeah. All right, guys.
You just love your Americans.
Until next time.
Fucking
Oh,
weirdo.
one last thing. Matt, there's a good chance I can have that microphone to you for tomorrow.
No way. Sound like an angel.
You won't sound like you're calling in from Tel Aviv anymore, man.
You have a microphone for him?
I ordered him a snowball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The most cost-effective, best mic probably for like
Yeah, so what,
dollar
50 bucks?
value. Yeah. Well, 70.
70.
Yeah. No sales during COVID, guys. Everything's premium price. Yeah, and the next step up is like $200 for the one that we have. So
Fucking Elgato released a streaming mic, eh?
that's the
You
one
see
that has that noise suppression. That's like unreal. Like you can like, or
Yeah.
was that Razer? I don't know, but there's the one with like you
No,
can like
that's the
clap.
Razer one. Yeah.
You've seen those? Did I send that video to you, or did you see it on your own?
I think that's the Razer one.
That's the Razer one. Okay.
I think the Elgato one's just a high quality mic. It's like
Is it
120 bucks
Razer?
or something
Yeah.
like that.
Anyways, yeah. Everyone's getting in on that game. Make that money. Everyone's streaming and doing what we're doing. All right, guys. Till next time. Hey, maybe tomorrow with the new mic. Oh, you'll never know.